Prime Video's NASCAR coverage is exactly what fans have been asking for. Did Kyle Larson call Scott McLaughlin an effing idiot after he crashed on the pace laps of the Indy 500? Plus, we're going to look at some of the people from the Indianapolis 500. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. So a couple of different driver announcements happened on Tuesday. Nothing crazy, not like silly season 2026 or anything like that. But Junior Motorsports announced on Tuesday morning that Daniel Suarez will drive the number 9 JRM Chevy Camaro in the Mexico City NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Now, that is a bit of a surprise because that was originally slated to be a Shane Van Gisbergen race and not a Daniel Suarez race. But now Suarez, with sponsorship from Quaker State, will drive in that race, which honestly makes a lot of sense. Having Suarez race in both of those races should have been something that was happening from the beginning, and now it actually will. I'm interested to see if SVG will get an additional start for JRM or if they're just going to just take that race off of his schedule in general. Is he going to go to Portland and race there? Because right now, it doesn't look like JRM has anybody for that 9 car in Portland, or are they going to give him like an oval start or something like that? However, he has been doing better on the ovals. But for Daniel Suarez, he's going to race in both races in Mexico City, which again, for ticket sales, makes so much sense in the world. And Kaulig Racing announced on Tuesday afternoon that Will Brown will drive the number 13 car in the Cup Series for them at the Chicago Street Race, which we've talked about on this channel probably 2-ish weeks ago, maybe even further back than that. Not a surprise there. Still expect a couple more announcements to come out of that, and maybe even one Australian headed to Lime Rock for the Truck Series race as well. Again, I'll have to see if everything plays out how it appears that it's going to. Now, let's get into what we want to talk about today. We're going to start off with Prime Video's NASCAR coverage. Obviously, the Coke 600 was the first race that Prime Video has in their 5-race portion of the schedule, and it left fans wishing that they had the rest of the year as well, because the Prime Video broadcast of the NASCAR Cup Series race of the Coca-Cola 600 was phenomenal. They knocked it out of the park. It's exactly what fans have been asking for. They presented the sport in a serious manner. They did a professional job, and it's unlike anything Fox has given us for the last, oh my goodness, honestly, 20 years at this point. What Prime Video did should make everybody in Los Angeles and with Fox rethink their strategy for NASCAR and be like, maybe we should go in that direction right here. Because what they did was professional. Their graphics package, sleek, clean, not cartoony, not clunky, nothing like that. Driver photos, not cartoons, not comic book characters, nothing along those lines. A professional broadcast, a booth that had chemistry, that didn't talk over one another, that knew how to banter, knew how to play, knew how to do everything in unison. No weird, awkward jokes, no making fun of the other person where it's like, it's a little bit too personal there. Nothing like that. Felt like they had rehearsed it, which they had multiple times. It all felt super cohesive. Then you have the camera operators, the direction of the broadcast, the director. Again, so much better than what Fox has been giving us. We didn't have these incredibly tight shots where we're looking at the hood pin on the car, or where I can literally see the brake caliper on the wheel because we're so zoomed in on it right there. We don't need that. We need a wider shot. We need to be able to see what's happening on the racetrack. Also, didn't zoom in on any kids in the grandstand. Great. I think everybody's in favor of that because it got a little bit weird. Once is fine. A dozen times a broadcast, you're like, all right, let's knock this off. It's getting kind of creepy at this point. Then you throw it down to the pre-race show and the post-race show. Phenomenal job by Danielle Trotta, by Corey LaJoie, by Carl Edwards. They did so well. And again, felt rehearsed. Felt like they had put in the time to practice this. And it's because they did. They put so much effort into it. 70 cameras around the racetrack. Multiple areas mic'd up. We heard Zane Smith crash on the backstretch when the camera wasn't looking at him, when the booth wasn't even talking about him. Something that you would never, ever, 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 effing ever, to quote Friday, get from Fox. It was just a whole bunch of small things. And then you throw in the fact that they ran side-by-side commercials during all green flag runs. Do you know how many minutes of full screen commercial Prime Video had on Sunday for the Coke 600? 9 total minutes. 9. Insanely low amount. The rest of it was all side-by-side. I believe 42 minutes of side-by-side commercials there. Something that Fox and the executives in Los Angeles honestly probably can't even fathom at this point. They just don't know how they're getting it done. And now for Prime, are they using this as a moneymaker the way that Fox is? Fox obviously pays out, the money that they do every year for the rights to NASCAR, and then they sell a ton of ads because they want to make that money back, obviously, and they want to, get an ROI out of this. Is Prime doing the same thing? I'm not entirely sure. I think that they might be operating more on a break-even type of platform, but there's a lot more that they can do in terms of the commercialization of their broadcast versus what Fox can as well. And they did a really good job. They brought in new sponsors. We had a different rotating cast of commercials versus the same 4 that you see on Fox and NBC and things like that. Everything about the broadcast was top notch. Now, there's been a lot of criticism, not a lot. There's been some criticism by the olds within the NASCAR fan base, which there's a lot of them. I'm not going to lie about that. There's a lot of old people that do watch NASCAR. A lot of people in the demo that NASCAR is looking at right now, and they're like, oh man, when they start to go, ratings are going to drop. Viewership is going to drop. That's why NASCAR is trying to play around with streaming. That's why they're trying to do other things to attract a younger audience. And as it currently stands, more people, more households in the United States have access to Prime Video than they do cable. So this makes all the sense in the world. The picture quality, fantastic. 1080, 4K. So much better than the 720 that Fox broadcast in. And it's going to really bum me out when we have to go back to network and cable because, again, what Prime is doing, it's phenomenal. Dale Jr., Steve Letarte, Adam Alexander all worked really well together. And then you have, back to the criticism real quick, I got off on a tangent there for half a second. You have some people being like, I'm not paying for Prime. Well, guess what? They hit you with a free 30-day trial. So you can, if you miss Coke 600, you can sign up on, I would sign up on Saturday or Sunday, and you'll be good to go through the rest of the 4 races that they have remaining, which is unfortunate to say 4 because I wish it was more. Then you have people being like, oh, it buffered for me all the time. That's a you problem because it didn't happen to me here and didn't happen to anybody else that I've talked to either. Oh, the sound issues. Again, those are you problems as well. I don't know what to tell people in a situation like that. It's so much better. Also, I really hate the thing of like, I'm not paying to watch NASCAR. You pay for cable, and that's a subscription service. They've just packaged it to where you don't think it's a subscription service, but it absolutely is. Well, if I'm paying for Prime, I shouldn't have to watch commercials then. Well, you watch commercials on cable, so I don't know. Some of the reasoning people give is just absolutely perplexing. What about the old people? Listen, we've gone on long enough catering to old people, right? Oh, technology is so difficult. I get it, but you're going to have to learn it or you're just not going to watch it at this point. It's really accessible. It's really easy to sign up for. It's really easy to watch. It was right there on the homepage of Prime Video. Amazon had it on the homepage of Amazon.com on Sunday. It's easy to watch. Tune in. Nashville, 7 p.m. on Sunday. Excited to see the broadcast once again. Did Kyle Larson call Scott McLaughlin an effing idiot on Sunday at the Indianapolis 500? If you missed it, Scott in that yellow submarine number 3 car wrecked on the front stretch. By himself, went Roberto Guerrero, went Roman Grosjean, wrecked on the pace laps. Didn't even get to see the green flag of the race. He hits the inside wall, comes to a stop down in turn 1. His race is over before it even started. Devastating for him, just heartbreaking for him. I mean, anybody that happens to is going to suck, and especially McLaughlin after having that big crash on Sunday for qualifying a week ago, and then having that happen, just brutal for him. But the internet is split over this controversy, if that's what you want to call it, on whether or not Kyle Larson called him an effing idiot for crashing. Now, if you take a listen to the video, you'll hear Kyle Larson say, okay, and then you'll hear somebody else key up the mic and say, someone crashed, effing idiot. And then you'll see Kyle Larson proceed to go on and put his thumb up and say, hey, like, good job. So take a look at the video real quick.
Okay. Somebody just crashed. Let me take it. That is yellow.
So yeah, the internet is split. Is that Kyle Larson that said that, or is it his spotter, Tyler Mon, that said it? Well, it appears that Kyle Larson's push to talk button is on the back side of the wheel on the left-hand side, and it looks like he presses and releases that when the voice comes over and says, someone crashed, effing idiot. So it might be Kyle Larson that said it. And people are all up in arms about this, being like, get him out of IndyCar. What an asshole. See, this is why I don't like Kyle Larson. I'm pretty sure most people in the field probably had a similar sentiment, or at least at some other point in their life have definitely had that sentiment. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows. People aren't always super nice. And I think for Larson, if he did say it, it's because there was probably frustration that set in from the fact that his 45-minute buffer, it was gone after that rain delay to start the race. And then you throw on top of it this, which prolonged the start of the race. And then you finally get the green flag, go off into turn 1, Marco wrecks, and that just slows the race down even more. And I think realization definitely set in as he climbed into that race car that, hey, I'm not even going to get to finish this race. So it's kind of pointless to even start at this point. And any chances that he did have of finishing it were gone after those first 2 caution periods. So I can kind of understand it if he did say it. At the same time, driving by and giving a thumbs up there, I don't think it was a, hey, hope you're okay, bud, type of thumbs up. I think it was a sarcastic, like, good job. The same way that you give that same thumbs up in traffic to the Tesla that cuts you off, or to the big, or not big, but little 1500 that's lifted, got the, maybe those 36-inch mud wheels on it, and he's weaving in and out of traffic, driving like a moron. You're like, good job, bud. You gained 24 feet. Not that impressive. And maybe that's what Larson was doing. Maybe it's just being sarcastic with it. Regardless, I think the reaction from the internet is actually pretty over the top on this one because it's really not that egregious. It's certainly not the most egregious thing that was probably said on the radio on Sunday. And for Larson, yeah, I think it was a bad weekend all around for him. Crashes out of the Indy 500, crashed out of the Coke 600, has the whole internet trying to dunk on him because he's the greatest race car driver in the world, which, side note, he never said that. Reading comprehension still very difficult for a lot of people out there. But hey, when the facts are in front of you, don't look at that. Just go ahead and continue. Don't let facts stand in the way of a good argument, that type of thing. That's kind of what's happening here. But for Larson, yeah, if he did say it, like, okay, fine. Like, I personally don't care. I couldn't care less what people say over the radio because they generally say things that they don't actually mean for the most part. Kurt Busch has an entire library on YouTube of radioactive clips of him losing his mind, and he's a decent guy all around, so it's fine. But Scott did have fun with it on Monday, and he tweeted out, guess I'm out of the best driver in the world conversation, which is a nice little jab as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to get worked up over this. Certain parts of the internet certainly will. People are going to try to dunk on Larson for it. This isn't the first time somebody's going to get called an effing idiot on the radio this year. Probably isn't the first time this week that you're going to hear it as well. I'm sure you'll hear it this weekend coming up. Like, it happens. It's what happens on the radio every single week. Ryan Blaney's going to key up the mic and call somebody stupid, call somebody an idiot, MF somebody on the radio. Nobody freaks out about that. But hey, I guess we're hypersensitive right now to Kyle Larson going over and racing in IndyCar or something. I don't actually know. Every year at the Indianapolis 500, you will see creatures from every walk of life. Some people that are just so far gone, they don't even know that they're in the state of Indiana right now. Other people that are dressed up for the occasion. And what occasion that is, I'm not entirely sure. Walking through Coke Lot makes you think that you're in a refugee camp for a bunch of alcoholics, and it's never been more entertaining than when you leave the race and you watch people try to jump over the creek or use the porta potty. One of my favorite all-time memories of the Indianapolis 500, 2010, walking past a porta potty row. This guy decided that he didn't need to pee anymore, but he did need to throw his trash away. Trash can was full. He picked up that full trash can, dumped it out onto the ground, set the trash can back down, put his trash in it, and proceeded to go back to line for the porta potty. And I can't fault that kind of logic. Well, Indy 500 Picks on Twitter always puts together a pretty good compilation, and this year's was a little bit down because of the cold weather, because of a little bit of rain. There was obviously 350,000 people there, but things didn't get as rowdy as what we've seen in the past. But we're still going to go through some of them real quick here. We're going to start off with free daycare. And honestly, I don't have kids. Maybe it would be a pretty decent thing. Daycare is expensive from what I've heard. That is a man's prosthetic leg that this dude is doing a shoey out of, a pros, as Theo Vaughn would like to say. This guy's shirt says cream pie connoisseur. Didn't finish though. Never made it to the end of the day. Passed out on the ground. That is the picture of the Indianapolis 500. Just trying to drag a guy with you. Yeah, look up top. There's a guy climbing the fence like it's Richmond in a NASCAR race. Not safe. Don't recommend. But America. Passing out and falling onto the floor of the bathroom seems like the worst possible outcome. Absolutely disgusting. The Pope, also Donald Trump, maybe even potentially as pink eye, made his appearance in the snake pit and things got a little bit rowdy for him. Then you have Iron Man, who apparently took Captain America's shield, and Spider-Man, Miles Morales, also showed up at the racetrack. Country, racing, plastic sex doll. What more could you want in life, honestly? I appreciate this guy's sense of style. It appears to be sandals, heels, cowboy boots, all in one. Ingenious. That doesn't say Butterfinger. Read it again. It does not say Butterfinger at all. I promise you. This is like Princess Leia with beer cans, or that guy that goes to the Bengals game that got arrested but had all his beer cans in his beard. That's his offspring. Look at her face. This isn't the first time this has happened, and she is just ultimately disappointed in whoever that is on the ground. When I first saw this photo, I thought this was a well-endowed woman, and then I realized, oh no, that's just a heavier guy with his elbows inside of his shirt there. As the kids like to say, Unc was out here trying to get numbers, and I'm fine with that. Honestly, shoot your shot, dude. Who cares? Age is just a number. The skill to cut a checkered flag into your head probably takes a lot. Pictured outside of this was a girl that was not dressed with a lot of clothes on, and this guy just passed out to the world. He has no idea. He's in the state of Indiana, but probably had a hell of a time as well. So yeah, go to Indy 500 Picks on Twitter if you want to look at some more of them. There's some videos on there as well. There's one guy just getting absolutely chewed out by his wife, like a middle-aged couple as well. And it's like, man, I just want to go watch cars go in a circle and drink some beers. I'm having to deal with this bullshit right now as well. It's always fun to watch it. So go check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think about Prime Video's coverage, Kyle Larson and Scott McLaughlin, that thing, Indy 500 Picks. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.